Okay, Doc. Flu season is upon us.
Yes, it is.
And so, how's the situation like in Gregg County, East Texas area?
Well, it's really starting. I was looking at the information on the CDC as well as the Texas Department of Human Services, or the TDC, TDS. The There's starting to be little spikes for most all the respiratory infections. We're not at a high level, but we have it out there.
Okay, and I guess it's just inevitable. It's just going to move in, right?
Generally, that's the case. I usually see that we have our peaks of our biggest cases in January, in February. Pretty much by March, it's pretty well moved out. Last year we had kind of a late peak on it, but I always see cases starting in December around the Christmas holidays and New Year holidays. It always bothers me and makes me nervous when I see we're starting to have some peaks before Christmas holidays, because I know that those kids and people traveling will spread the flu from wherever they're at to another place. And then also when it really peaks in December and over the holidays, those people will go back to their houses or back to school and they'll spread it some more. But that's just what happens, the nature of contagious diseases.
Yeah, yeah, and it's been looks like there've already been some big spikes in New York, some of the larger
Right.
cities.
And we almost always see that. That's why I generally just talk about what's in the East Texas area, because what occurs in those large areas, and especially up in the Northeast seem to always catch it more. They have more severe winters than we have. And winter is where you always see these respiratory infections for a variety of reasons. It is part of the nature of it is that when it's cold, everybody's together, and you can't get out. In the summer, when it's hot and everybody's spread out, and you don't spread things near as well. But those northern areas, and then all the big metropolitan areas will get it, and then it will filter down to the more rural areas, which is what East Texas is, a rural area. But with people traveling so much, all you got to do is get on a jet plane and you can be somewhere in the United States in just a few hours. And then if you come back, you can catch something in New York and then you bring it here. And that's again the nature of contagious diseases.
Yeah, and I guess it's sometimes when it's in the contagious zone, you don't even know you're sick, right?
Correct. A lot of these things you really don't know you have symptoms for a day or two, and you're contagious. And meningitis, which is a very contagious disease, you may be very contagious and not know that you're really even sick yet, and then you can still spread it. And all these respiratory infections, you've got to breathe, and you cough up stuff and breathe, and you spread it out.
Hey, just out of curiosity, have we seen any meningitis cases?
Have not heard of any. The good thing, I've not heard of any.
Yeah, okay, good deal. Because I know once upon a time, it's like the hot spot in the
We
world.
had a really big hot spot in the early 90s.
Yeah. And so, what about the flu shot?
Flu shot, still very applicable for people to take. Ideally, you want to take it. I always tell people to do it in October, beginning to do it, because that way you are truly immune by that time. I hate for people to take it too soon because it may wear off by the time March runs around, and you still want some protection by March. So even though we're at the end of the year, if you take your flu shot, within about 2 weeks, you for sure have some immunity, and that may be all you need to do to help fight the influenza if you get infected.
Are there any other ways to kind of battle viral infections?
Very good hand washing, very good hygiene, trying to cough into the sleeve, as they say, trying not to cough in front of people. Don't cough in your hands because you end up touching somebody or shake hands and you spread it that way. But the main thing is just good hygiene.
Okay. All right. It's kind of the same old rules, basically.
Correct.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. What about this new strain?
The new strain.
Yeah.
The new strain is still a influenza A. It is a H3N3. The actual name of it is uh, influenza A H3N2 subclade K. It's a variant that developed arose in Australia, and now it's been spread worldwide, and that goes back to everybody traveling. Uh, Again, also, most of these viruses really start in the Far East and then spread to the rest of the world. I'm not saying anything bad about the people in the Far East, but it just, again, it has to do with how these develop. And that variant is not covered in the current vaccine, but in the current vaccine, there is still an H3N2 influenza. There's an H1N1 influenza A in it, and then there's influenza B Victoria, and this is a trivalent, which is 3 different vaccines against that. They have to, about May of every year, decide what's going to be the current vaccine that we have to have for the next year, because you have to be able to make this up, and it takes some time. And so this new vaccine was very good. However, this other variant came out afterwards, and there's no way they could do it. My feeling about flu vaccines is if you do it every year, and they keep changing it every year, even though you may not have exactly the perfect vaccine immunization, that because influenza, you may have some partial immunity against this new one, and that for the most part shows that you will probably still get sick with it, but you will have less severity of illness, and that goes along with the flu vaccine anyway. You may still catch it, but you'll have a lot less illness and theoretically less morbidity, because flu does kill people, and especially people who are respiratory cripples or have respiratory problems.
Right. And how do we stand on COVID?
COVID is very low levels. We're seeing very few cases of it, which is good. It's still out there. Don't really have much hospitalizations at all with it, but it's still there. The other virus that is very much in the news is the RSV, the respiratory syncytial virus, which is out there, that has been around, and it's starting to spike up at little higher levels. But it's interesting, if you look at the data, it's been going along all since summer, just not at a very high level. It doesn't seem to be quite as epidemic-like. It's just at low levels, but again, that can affect people who are very young and also have respiratory problems, and they will not do well with that.
All right.
And we have a vaccine that helps on that for the kids and for the adults. So there is no actual treatment for RSV. There is at least a Tamiflu and the antivirals like that will work on influenza. And then we of course had Paxlovid that would help with COVID-19. So a lot of the other viruses that, like the other para-influenzas and rhinovirus and adenovirus, we don't have vaccines or actual treatment for that. That is all symptomatic treatment. We treat all the symptoms: the cough, the coryza, the runny nose, or the stuffy nose, the sore throat. You treat that with analgesics, and you treat it with the cough syrups, and a lot of hydration. Hydration is very important because it really keeps the respiratory tract a little bit healthier, and if you have any mucus and stuff, it helps you bring that up.
And about the antivirals, I guess, is there a point where it's too late and it really won't do any good?
You need to get your antivirals, and when you start having symptoms, you ideally within 48 hours um, for influenza. The COVID, you could wait as late as 5 days, and it still would help ameliorate the disease severity. So if you wait too late, then it's too late.
All right. Anything you'd like to add?
The other thing about all these viruses that if you don't get treated early or don't prevent yourself, sometimes you get secondary bacterial infections such as pneumonias and things like that. And those are very serious. And at least antibiotics will generally help you with that. But by the time you get to that, you may end up being hospitalized. And the whole thing is trying to keep you from being in the hospital if we can.
So I guess just be aware, be cautious.
Beware, be cautious. I guess the only other thing is we're seeing an increase of, this is a bacterial problem, pertussis. We're seeing more pertussis. That, I think that's going along with the fact we have less immunizations. Measles is another virus. We're seeing more measles cases, not in Gregg County, but because of the people not vaccinating, we're seeing a lot more measles. And measles is an interesting one because it takes about 2 weeks for you to know if you got it. And so you can be very, very contagious for 2 weeks and be spreading it to people and not even know it. So I would still ask people to try to, be into immunizations and make sure they're current in immunizations. We are giving pertussis to older people because they used to think that older people would never get pertussis. Now we know that people got immunized when they were young kids or got pertussis, that as you get to be 50, 60, 70 years of age, you can actually catch it again, which to me makes sense. I mean, even though they say lifetime immunity, it's usually lifetime immunity, not always.
Yeah, actually, I was going to ask you about that. So I guess that can vary from individual to individual, right? How long
Sure.
a vaccination?
Susceptibility is individual to individual. I mean, some people go through life and they really never catch anything. And some other people go through life and catch everything that comes along. And it just has to be with how well your good immune system is. There's a thing called immunosurveillance we talk about. And that's how your body has all this immune system, and then when it sees something, it attacks it. And if you have great immunosurveillance, i.e., if you had vaccinations or you just so have good immune system, you can, kill that invader or the infection and do well.
All right. Thanks a lot. Bye.